Hello everyone, Seraphin here, welcome back for more Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. So you may be wondering, what the heck are we doing here? I beat the game already. Well, that's true, I did. However, I thought I would go through and do some of the post-game stuff. So specifically, there are two post-game adventures you can embark on. The first one being, of course, the Tower of Valni, which we now have full and complete access to all 8 floors. There's also the Lagdell Ruins to the east, but since that one is considerably harder, I thought we would do the tower first. And the tower is also a bit shorter, and it should go fairly quickly. And we're also going to take the time to progress through the tower and level up some people that we didn't get a chance to use very often during the course of our campaign, and see how they rank up with people we did decide to use. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the tower here. And I have kind of lazily pre-equipped some people here to use. The nice thing about the tower and the ruins, as I believe you guys have seen with the skirmish chapters and the first time I came to the tower just as a demonstration, you do not have to force deploy anybody, including Erica or Ephraim. So I don't have to bring either of them if I don't want to, and I'm not going to actually because they're just too strong for this, starting out at any rate. We're also going to leave behind all of our major hitters, and we're going to bring some people that we haven't seen in a while. We're going to bring in Kyle and Archer. We're going to bring in Vanessa and Amelia. We're going to bring Natasha because I want a new healer. I don't think we need Calm just yet, but we're going to bring him anyway. And we are also going to bring Ewan because I want Ewan to be leveled up into his, I guess, initial class. You know, we don't need Calm. There's no treasure in this level. So instead of bringing him, we are going to bring Marissa instead because she needs a good deal of experience as well. So you'll notice that we're a little bit lacking in certain weapon types. We have lances and swords and light magic and anima magic and a healer. That's about it. So no axes, no bows. Ewan will eventually be able to use dark magic. I'm going to make him a shaman once he reaches out of his trainee class. We have Noel here as well. I'm going to wait to send him into the fray until a little bit later, but we'll see about how that goes. I've got a decent halfway decent tank with Kyle. And obviously Amelia's semi-decent at that as well. Vanessa's incredibly fast. Marissa also incredibly fast. And we have a really good, competent healer in Natasha. You guys have already seen how easy these levels are. Honestly, they're a cakewalk for the most part. But we'll be able to get some nice experience on our lower level units. And that will be incredibly valuable, I think, in the long run. Just because, well, it will be. Because I said so. At any rate, why don't we go ahead and get started here. Notice you don't have the option to save in the tower. And I believe I mentioned this when I came here the first time. That is because you have to do all 8 floors in one go, pretty much. You don't have the option to save between chapters. So in order for me to get around doing that, simply because I'm not going to be able to do the entire bloody tower in one go, and obviously in one video, I'm going to rely on save states between floors on my emulator. So, since I can't save, and I don't want to be able to... I want to be able to come back to this and record it in bits rather than sit and do the whole thing at once, so I will be using save states between floors. That way I can just pick up and leave and go wherever I need to with each floor. So, apologies if that's upsetting to some of you. Bear in mind you will not have this ability if you're playing on the actual physical console. You will be able to suspend your progress as normal and come back to it later, but you will not be able to actually straight up save between floors. You have to do it all at once. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and dive right in here. And all of my guys have pretty rudimentary equipment. I just kind of gave them the basic stuff. I meant to use my Metasis Tome on Ewan first. So, I don't know if I showed you guys the Metasis Tome. This is the same thing as the Aphis drops from Blazing Sword, in that it will increase the growth rates of whichever unit uses it by 5% across the board. So every stat will have a 5% growth increase. That doesn't sound like very much, and in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't, but it can make a massive difference between your final stat lines. The difference between 20% to 25%, for example, again, does not sound like a lot, but it also can make a very big difference. And if you do the math, on the average, it's like 1 extra stat up per 20 levels, and that doesn't sound like a lot. But that's just, you know, statistically what happens, but given the random nature of growths, it could end up being a lot more than that. Or it might end up being garbage. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and use this on Ewan because he has 50 levels to grow, or more specifically 49 levels to grow. And he has the most potential of any unit on my team at the moment. So we are going to go ahead and have Amelia do some rudimentary tanking here of these first initial dudes. We're going to park Ewan right behind her, and I'm going to have him use this tome. It says maturity increased. That's their code for your growths are better now, but we don't really have any way of reflecting that. I am bringing Tethys, obviously, because having a dancer is just far too valuable. And given her time in this tower, she'll probably end up maxing out level-wise. That's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with maxing out your level. And we will have our slightly more experienced and more veteran people just behind in case things get a little hairy. So things are going to progress, not at a lightning fast pace or anything, but we're going to make some decent progress. None of our units here are bad by any stretch. And thanks to her time we spent getting her out of her trainee class, Amelia is actually very competent now as a unit. And you guys will get a chance to see her in action. I am going to make her a general, more than likely. Maybe a Great Knight. I haven't decided yet. Well, obviously, those are the two choices I have now, because I went and made her a Knight. But I love Amelia as a general. She has a higher speed cap as a general than a male one, so Gilliam will be slower than her by default. She won't be able to reach the same strength or defense caps. Actually, I think the defense cap is the same. The strength cap's a little lower, but that's alright. Speed and defense, nice. Certainly need more defense as a knight. She's a little bit lacking in that department at the moment, but that's okay. So thankfully, these Revenants are abysmally slow. They have 1, maybe, speed, but Ewan should still be able to double them, no problem. That being said, he doesn't quite have the punching power to kill them in a single round. But with Tethys' help, who, by the way, is his older sister, if that wasn't clear, we can disable these Revenant guys without too much trouble. And that will be, should be a whole level up for him, because he's, you know, technically below level 1. Magic, speed, luck, I like it. We'll be seeing a lot of that from Ewan, mostly magic, speed, and luck. His defense, as you can see, is non-existent. I'm hoping to get at least a few points on him before, you know, he gets too high a level, but his resistance is also fairly competent. I'm not quite certain about his skill. I don't actually remember if his skill is halfway decent or not. I believe it is, but don't quote me on any of that. It occurs to me we didn't turn animations on for anybody. We should probably do that. I guess Amelia already had hers on. So you'll see we have the option to look at records now in the option menu here. And that just, you know, tracks our basically combat records during these side little missions here post-game. We also have the option to retreat from the tower whenever we want. If we're in danger of losing somebody, we can just bail, but we just start all over again. And then we have the typical suspend option, obviously, so we're just going to go to options real quick. We'll turn on Ewan and Marissa. We can leave Tethys and Natasha turned off for the time being. So Marissa could do with a little bit of a heal here, I think. And Natasha's not quite high enough level staff-wise to use a barrier yet, so she's not able to abuse that experience from that just yet, but that will change rapidly. It does not take very long to get from a lower ranking staff rank to a middle one, and from then on it just kind of skyrockets upward. And I'm totally okay with Natasha being S rank and staves as opposed to light, because we've already got our S rank light magic user with La Rochelle. We'll go ahead and punch this guy with Archer, even though he can't completely kill him here. Which is a little surprising. Archer's magic's normally very competent, and he would not have any issue disabling these silly jerks. But we will finish him off with Vanessa, I suppose. Since Vanessa is... she's really high level, actually, at this point, compared to the rest of our people here. Marissa and Ewan are definitely the most vulnerable of our party here, I think. Alright, let's see what this Bone Walker ends up going for here. He's got a couple of different options. For some reason, that one Revenant is bugged and never attacks when he moves. As for why that is, I have no idea, but Marissa should be fast enough to double here, yep. So Marissa is very, very similar to Joshua in terms of her stat lines. She's just as fast, just as much skill, not quite as much strength, unfortunately, and even though Joshua already struggles with that a little bit, Marissa definitely has a strength problem, and her defenses are also kind of meh. But her luck is incredible. She has incredibly good luck for any unit, really, not just a sword-wielding unit. Here we have Ewan struggling to hold his feet as he casts fire magic, which is a little interesting. Nonetheless, I'm hoping we can get him to the shaman territory by the end of the next chapter. I don't think we'll be able to do it with just this one, simply because there's not enough people for me to attack, and I don't want to sit here and waste all day just using him and nobody else. Yeah, that's a really strange animation. So something I don't know if I mentioned, this is a little bit of, I'm not going to say an Easter egg, but it's something that you get benefit from if you decide to do a second playthrough of this game. So when you do play through this game the first time, when you promote your trainee units, they have the option of becoming one of two different base classes. So, you know, Amelia can become either a knight or a cavalier. Ewan can be either a mage or a shaman. Ross can be either a pirate or a fighter. However, if you go through a second playthrough, when you promote your trainees for the first time into their base class, you actually have the option to keep them as their trainee class. So you can have Ewan stay as a pupil, you can have Amelia stay as a recruit, and you can have Ross stay as a journeyman. And you might be wondering, why in the heck would you want to keep them that way? Well, they retain the increased caps of a regular base class, so 20 in everything, 30 in luck. However, it allows them to continue basically with whatever setup they already had. And then, on top of that, there is basically a promoted trainee class. And this is called a super trainee class, basically, is what they're commonly referred to as. So you can have Amelia become a recruit, or you get her as a recruit, rather, make her into a recruit again, and then promote her with a knight crest into a recruit. A super recruit, if you will. And this retains the same battle animation, the same sprites, the same weapon capabilities, so she only gets lances. However, a super recruit and a super journeyman, I believe, get a bonus 15% chance to critical hit, which is the same as a swordmaster or a berserker. On top of that, they have very different maximum stat caps for promoted classes as opposed to what the other choices they would have had were, which is very interesting. And actually, Ewan is a very special case for a super pupil class, because he gains the ability to use all three kinds of magic. No staves, but he can use anima, light, and dark as a super pupil, which is pretty interesting. No other class in the game can do that. So it gives him a bit of a niche. There we go, defense on Ewan, that's pretty nice. I'll take 1 point over nothing, I suppose. At any rate, why don't we go ahead and get Amelia softened up a little more here. Push her into combat a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep these to the same length of episodes as I did previously, you know, about 30 minutes or so. The first few levels of this tower go pretty quick, so I'll probably be able to do, you know, 1 and 2 in one episode, 3 and 4, but then after that, they take a little bit longer. They're a little bit more complex, so after that, it'll probably just be 1 episode per floor. Same with the ruins when we get to that point. Those do take quite some time, unfortunately, especially the later ones. So we will definitely be making use of 1 floor per episode. Might even have to split them up depending on some of the later ones. They can get pretty raunchy. That being said, we're going to make some reasonably fast-paced progression. We're not going to be sitting here for months doing this. Maybe, you know, just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and heal up with Natasha so we can get some experience on her. And some more staff XP. Now, it may look like I'm favoring Ewan and Amelia here, and that's true, I am a little bit right now, but I want to get them both to a competent level where I don't have to worry about them and babysit them so much. Ewan definitely right now requires quite a bit of babysitting, and he most likely will continue to require that, at least until we get him into a halfway decent leveled shaman. The nice things about the trainees, though, is that they gain experience very, very quickly, even once they're already in their base class, which is incredibly good. This guy attacks Tethys because reasons. Sadly, Ewan is still not quite capable of one-rounding these Revenants. I really wish that were the case, but hopefully by the time we reach Chapter 2 that will be different. Or Level 2, I should say. Level 2 is going to be a little slower than this one. It's quite a bit long. It's quite a bit bigger. There's not really all that many... I mean, there's more units on it, obviously, but it's not any more difficult than this one. It's just there's a lot more dudes, and it's a bigger map. And we're going to be progressing a little bit slower, which is, honestly, that's fine. I'm going to let this guy come after Ewan because he can take at least 1 hit. Unless that guy has like a fetid claw or something. Probably should check that before I decide to leave him there. It's going to be level 5 for Ewan? Yep. Level 5 trainee at any rate. More defense. Alright, I'll take it. I am not going to complain about getting more defense. He does not have a fetid claw. He's fine. Alright, so we'll heal up with Natasha real quick. I suppose I could let Marissa have this other kill over here. Why don't we draw her out here? Kyle and Vanessa are already decently leveled, and Archer, honestly, is halfway up there as well, so we're going to focus more on our slightly weaker units starting out, just so we can get them to an even keel, and then we'll just kind of spread it around wherever we can. Oh, we got hit that time. What a jerk. This Revenant guy. I think a couple more magic points and he should be okay to one-round these guys. At least 2 more, obviously, because this guy's got 3 HP still. And Marissa probably will not run around this guy either. Not with an iron sword. With a steel, she might have. Ow. Alright, no need to be rude here, guys. And I get that you're just, you know, walking piles of dead flesh, but doesn't mean you need to be jerks. Alright, so we'll just contend with this deal guy here. No big deal. Yep, I didn't expect her to get strength, but I will take some defenses on her. That's pretty great. The nice thing about going through the tower like this is you're fighting exclusively monsters. That's how it is for the rest of the game. In fact, even during skirmishes, we will not be fighting human soldiers any longer for the rest of the game. There's none of them to be found. Not even like possessed ones or, you know, that kind of deal. They're all exclusively monsters from here on out. Which sounds boring, but given the level of diversity with the monsters, and all of them have different weapons, and there's lots of different monster classes, there's still plenty of challenge and plenty of opportunity to be had just fighting monster classes. Apologies if that sounds boring to you guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally, but on top of that, it's very easy to deal with monsters. They're a little bit more predictable than, you know, a given human soldier class, simply because a lot of them are incredibly slow. The only exception to that being the Moth Doogs and I guess Gargoyles to some extent. Every other monster class is just abysmally slow. Like Revenants are pathetically slow. Bonewalkers are also pretty slow. Cyclops obviously very, very slow. Gorgons, I guess to a certain extent, are not terribly slow, but for the most part, speed is less of a contentious issue when you're in the creature campaign, because you're generally speaking gonna double everything. Even if you have less than stellar speeds. Like even Gilliam at this point is gonna be doubling everything. Except for Moth Dukes, probably. And actually, when we're dealing with the Lagdao Ruins, it's almost exclusively promoted monster classes, so they're gonna be all Gwilgis instead of Moth Dukes. And Death Goyles instead of Gargoyles, and Maldwins instead of Tarvos, and all that fun jazz. And these words all just sound really weird as I say them all one at a time. I actually don't know the origin of the nomenclature of some of these monster names. Like, obviously I know what Revenants are, obviously I know Bonewalker is just another name for like a skeleton kind of deal, or a reanimated skeleton, but what is a Moth Doog? Where did they come up with that name? Where did they come up with Tarvos and Maldwin? I don't know a lot of these. Sorry if they're incredibly obvious, I'm just not on the up and up apparently when it comes to my monster lore, so to speak. And we'll just finish off this boss Revenant. Who do I want to get the kill here? Ewan's already level 7. I think we'll let him have it, honestly. But we'll do some damage here with Marissa first. Marissa does have a very appealing color scheme, I will say that. I like the muted grayish blue with her purple hair. It is a very appealing combination. Sadly, Marissa's character sprite is a little meh. Like, I'm not a big fan of it, if I'm being totally honest. Her official artwork looks great, but her character sprite is like, they could have done better. Now, that being said, this guy, I'm going to let Archer have at, because this will give me a full level of experience, regardless of what level I am. Because Entombed are just that awesome. Boatloads of experience points. So we'll get Archer up to level 10. That way we'll have a, you know, something more competent Archer, I guess. Magic, speed, and resistance, I will take it. Alright, so that's the first floor done. 7 to go. Proceed to the next floor. Why, yes, of course. Tower of Valni 2. They don't try to make any, you know, fanfare about it. You're just progressing to the next one. So we're going to keep the same setup of dudes here, I think. I don't see any reason not to. But you'll see here, this map is quite a bit bigger. In fact, what we have to do is start from this area here, go all the way down here, take this one little area bottleneck down this hallway, and then come out the other side to get to the boss. That being said, I do believe once you cross a certain threshold, the monsters all come toward you. So we should be able to alleviate some of the extensive length of this chapter just by drawing the enemies out. A lot of Bone Walkers here to contend with, first of all, followed by Tarvo's cavalry, followed by some Bales, I guess. But at any rate, we're going to go ahead and keep the same setup of peeps here. Just because, again, I don't see any reason not to. We'll put Tethys right in the center here, and we'll have... Yeah, I think we're good. So again, I cannot save, but I'm just going to dive right in. There's no need to worry about saving anyway. I don't think a lot of these guys have a terribly great deal of power behind them. Actually, these ones are a little bit threatening. So why don't we send Ewan up first to kind of melt this guy, and I'll pull him back with Kyle or somebody. Kyle, or I could actually rescue drop Kyle with Kyle and Vanessa and get him back on his feet. And we'll have Natasha heal him. This will actually provoke... The funny thing about the enemy structure in the tower and the ruins is that there are certain, I'm going to say, trigger points that once you reach a certain distance into the map, it provokes a certain group of monster enemies to move toward you. But until you cross that threshold, they don't move at all. And it's the same thing in the tower as it is with the ruins. And funnily enough, back in the day, I played these so extensively and had done them so often that I actually knew where those trigger points were. So I got to understand just how far I could go into the level and not provoke a giant pile of dudes. And it allowed me to kind of pace myself a little bit better and, you know, for lack of a better term, I'm not necessarily cheese the enemy progression, but it allowed me to have a better understanding of who I would pull at what time. And a lot of that, you know, understanding too comes from my experience playing MMOs, because that's what you do, is you learn to pull certain groups of enemies at a time rather than everything at once, so you can kind of deal with it in a more controlled manner. That was especially helpful for me playing World of Warcraft back in the day, because going through a giant raid dungeon, you don't want to pull everything in the dungeon at once. You want to pull little groups at a time. And understanding how best, and who best rather, to attract at once and deal with is just as crucial in a game like that as it is knowing how to deal with those people. Or those monsters, rather. Those packs of enemies. And the same holds true for Fire Emblem in this particular context. I think, at any rate. That guy's got a longbow, huh? Well, longbows are not particularly powerful. So even with Amelia's lackluster defense, she's able to take that no problem. So why don't we take out this javelin monstrosity here. I'm going to move a little bit further up, be a little bit more blasé about my progression here, because I want to get toward the top there as quick as I can. I don't want to spend all day doing the same bloody level. That being said, we're definitely going to get you into a base class here by the end of this chapter. I don't see any reason not to. Another level and a half, and he'll be all set to become a shaman. The awkward thing is, he's leveling up anima magic right now as a pupil, but once I make him a shaman, he won't be able to use it anymore, because he'll be a shaman and using dark magic instead. Although I think the weapon rank will carry over, so he'll be at least be able to use D in dark magic, which is actually really important because you need D rank to use flux. So if you have E rank in dark magic, you're screwed because you can't use anything, which is actually kind of funny if you think about it. Although I tell you what, there is part of that glitch that I mentioned in previous episodes about being able to steal a Wretched Heir for Myr to use. You can actually utilize that same glitch to steal a Demon Surge from the Gorgons, or, you know, like a Crimson Eye or whatever the heck from the what are they called? The Moguls. If you're able to do that, anybody can use those things, which is weird because they're technically classified as dark magic. But by doing that, you actually allow any character in the game access to use dark magic by using that thing. And when they use it for the first time, it grants them an E rank in dark magic. And the only way to level it up is by using that monster weapon, because you can't use flux or anything yet. It's actually very game-breaking, if you try to use it with animations on, it'll crash your game, from what I understand. So if you're inclined to experiment and try that out, turn your animations off first, because obviously normal units aren't supposed to use magic, so the game does not know how to deal with you doing that, and it just kind of freaks out and blows up. So, I mean, I don't know the extent of how exploitable all these glitches are, and honestly, I've never performed them myself, but if you are so inclined, there is plenty of information to be had online about them. That's how I found out about them in the first place, at any rate. So, needless to say, I will not be experimenting with glitches this playthrough. I don't see any point. I've got plenty of other things to do, so it's not like we're in a tight spot for content or anything. Certainly not with the case with doing this tower and doing the Lagdal ruins. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to tell you that I'm not looking forward to doing the ruins, simply because it's a slog. All 10 levels of that doesn't sound that bad. It's like, oh, it's only 10 floors. How bad can it be? Well, every floor is just a slog. It's an absolute slog. There's no other way to describe it, really. And it's funny because it's really the first 9 floors that are a slog. The last one is not a slog at all. It's just incredibly difficult. The last floor of the ruins, floor number 10, is actually very small, but I'm not going to ruin what's there. It's very, very difficult, and if you're not prepared for it, you will end up losing people, and you don't want to lose a character on the 10th floor of the ruins after you spent all that time and effort getting there in the first place. You don't want that to happen, trust me, because I've had that happen to me before, and I about threw my console across the room. So anyway, we will get there when we get there. That will be the finale, I guess, of Sacred Stones. Ultimately will be the floor 10 of the Lagdal ruins. We've got quite some time before we get there, so don't worry about us not having things to do or play or whatever for the next little while. There's plenty to do, trust me. Is anybody hurt that I could heal with Natasha? I guess Amelia could do with a little bit of a top off here. I want to get to C rank with staves so I can start abusing barrier stabs on Natasha like I did with Larashil and Mulder. That will allow us to get her to a promotion tier that much quicker, which I'm okay with completely. And that guy's going to go for Marissa, and she will not quite kill him, but darn close. The nice thing, too, about that little hallway, that bottleneck, is that enemies are going to start funneling down through it once I provoke them, and we can actually just shoot at them over the wall. And as you can see, most of them will not be able to retaliate. The archers will, but the Tarvos, the Bales, they cannot do that. So we can kind of attack them with impunity from across this wall here, so to speak. Take him out with Marissa, too. Now, it's funny, because you have the option in Sacred Stones to promote Myrmidons into assassins, as opposed to swordmasters. Unfortunately, it's a gimmick, and there's really not any real reason to do it. Unfortunately, assassins are kind of meh. And I know that the idea of potentially one-shot killing things is very cool, but given how rarely it actually ends up happening in practice, and your stat caps are just so much worse as an assassin when compared to a swordmaster, it really isn't worth it, if you ask me. So, apologies if you were hoping to see something like that this playthrough, but I'm actually not going to have any assassins at all. It just occurred to me, because Joshua's already a swordmaster. The only other opportunities I have are Marissa and Colm, and I'm probably going to make Colm a rogue, because Reddick is terrible, and I would rather have a better one in Colm, so... Alright, that's going to be level 10 Pupil Ewan. So we can stop spending time training him up for the rest of the chapter, at any rate. 10 gold, woohoo! I can retire now, I know, right? So let's get him the heck out of there so he doesn't get attacked anymore. And we'll just rescue drop him with our resident, very fast-moving people. We can kind of spend some time on Marissa and Amelia now for the remainder of this chapter. Although Amelia is not going to enjoy dealing with those axe-wielding Tarvos. So we're probably going to be relying on Marissa a little bit more for that particular situation. We'll go ahead and take out this bow-wielding Bone Walker with Archer. Not overly threatening, 10 damage. Sounds like a lot when you only have, 20-something HP, but honestly, Archer's probably going to be fine. And we'll just get him topped off real quick. I'm actually going to position Marissa right in front of that little choke point there. Hey, that's going to be C rank with staves for Natasha. So now she can use barrier, which is great. Actually, I'm just going to put Marissa right here. I don't have to use her for anything like that at all. So speaking of, we'll just go ahead and let Natasha start with the barrier rising, because I don't see any reason not to. We'll barrier up the guy who's already got stellar resistance here. I'm not opposed to that idea. So yeah, we don't need to worry about Ewan anymore. He is all set to go for the rest of the chapter. I keep saying chapter, it's just a floor. These are not chapters, so my apologies if that's offending anybody here. Spale does have a poison claw, I just realized, but he can't hit Marissa to save his life, so that's okay. And she has just enough punch to take him down with one more round. So I'm noticing that none of the enemies are moving toward the bottleneck just yet. Whoops. Oh, I crit anyway. Perfect. Somehow my brain did the math completely incorrectly. Still no strength, but again, I'm not terribly surprised by that revelation. And we'll let Marissa move again. Might be able to finish off this Tarvos with a steel sword. Nope, she can't even double the guy with a steel sword, so I guess we're sticking with this. I could just let somebody else have a swing at the Tarvos here. It's not like I need Marissa here. That might change sooner rather than later, that being said, simply because she doesn't quite have the punching power for a lot of these guys. Alright. Not quite a level for Archer, but almost. We'll go ahead and start getting everybody moved up here. Barrier up Amelia for absolutely no reason. I don't think there's going to be any reinforcements from behind me or anything like that. I think that only happens really with human reinforcements. Oh, there we go. We start moving some people. Oh, I lied. There are people from behind us coming in. Well, see, this is what happens when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But we'll start moving up our guys regardless. I'll get a javelin to deal with this guy who's got a freaking longbow. Of course he does. Why wouldn't he? Let's see, he can shoot really far with that thing too, so I gotta be careful here. So I don't want to put Vanessa in range of that, obviously. I'll put Archer up in here. We'll get Ewan tucked away safely, I think. We're going to leave Marissa out here to deal with them, I think. Because they're all axe-wielding guys. There's also the Moth Dude that I think she can still double. Nope, not quite. She's 1 point of speed too shy to double him. Needless to say, that's not that big of a deal ultimately, though. Another barrier eyes here. Yeah, we'll get Ewan tucked away nice and safe there. And that'll be level 17 for Tethys now. Yeah, she's almost ready to cap out. Sadly, she won't max out any of her stats, but that's perfectly okay. She's very competent as she is. Here we go. Starting to pull out some more units into the bottleneck here. Some of them I don't think will move at all. I don't know that the boss moves at all until you're in his range. But because it is a Tarvos and he effectively has cavalry movement, I think that won't take very long. Yeah, we'll just disarm this guy here. By disarm, I of course mean stab him through the face. No problemo. Did only 2 of them move? What's up with that? I don't know. Anyway. Well, they're coming for Marissa, so that's fine. Why don't we go ahead and move Kyle up so I can soak some damage from these chuckleheads here. And I'll have Archer just behind. I think our buddy Kyle here can handle these guys without too much of an issue. And we're gonna leave Ewan the heck out of the way because we don't really need him anymore. But we're gonna have Natasha on site to help heal up Marissa in the case she gets hit by something. She's not exactly what I would call super duper tanky. Certainly not. Most Myrmidons and Swordmasters are not particularly tanky. That's by their very nature, I suppose. This guy, oh, he does not have a poison claw. That's good. For some reason, I was expecting him to have one. It's a nice dent in that thing. Kyle's gonna take a bow attack here, probably, but that's okay. I think he can handle that. Ow, really? You jerk. That is not okay. 28% chance to hit, and he landed it no issue. Oh, here they come. Another longbow? Are you kidding me? Does every one of these jerks have longbows? Look, longbows are nifty, but they're a pain in the butt to fight against, if I'm being totally honest. Alright, well, chunk this guy down. Not too much trouble, as I say again. Oh, alright, whatever. Is what it is. We'll disable that guy with Vanessa here. 7 strength is not fantastic, but thankfully it's enough for the time being. She is very fast, I will give her that. We'll have Kyle run up and take care of this guy. It's nice having a decent Cavalier, just because Cavaliers are so utilitarian and versatile. They make everything better. Like, Cavaliers are like bacon. They make everything better. Like, you can't afford to not have a decent Cavalier on your team. And thankfully, the idea of a decent Cavalier is very easy to come by, because they're all pretty decent. Even the ones that are kind of meh, like Ford. Oh, that was nice. That was a perfectly timed crit, actually. Could not have come at a better time, really. Let's heal up Marissa so she doesn't get taken out by a lucky axe swing again. Alright, whatevs. Alright, I think we'll have Amelia actually see if she can whip a javelin at that other Tarvos' face, just to add a little extra damage here. Oh wow, yeah. She doubles him even. Oh, he's got a steel axe, that's probably why. Really? Double miss on 70%. That's just pathetic and lame and stupid, and I don't like it. I guess I'll just barrier up people here, because they have nothing better to do. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyway, moving on. Another sharp claw from this thing. Ow! Alright, Kyle's gonna have to go get healed up real quick, I think. Oh wow, alright. I will take it. Was he the one that got whipped, or that got beaten half to death in that one episode with Monsters on It 2 where I got La Rochelle? I think he was. Yeah, I'm almost fairly certain of it. He's kind of got wailed on a bunch by a bunch of random monsters. As is tradition, I suppose. Yeah, get at me. Really need to have a little more punching power. Oh, another crit, alright. I mean, I'll keep taking these 6% crits. I am not going to complain too much about that. Silly moth dude. Let's just take this guy down. I don't want to deal with him anymore. And I don't want to risk her getting hit by more than one guy. Plus, it's a level up, so that's good. Level 8 for her now, I think? Yep. Still no strength. Again, probably won't see much of that at all. It is to be expected. Oh, this will be nice if I can land a hit on this thing. There we go. It's pretty much a guaranteed kill for Marissa when he comes for her. We'll barrier up Amelia, too, for kicks and grins here. I think this last batch of dudes won't move until we get in range of them. That being said, we really need to heal up Kyle, so we're going to bail him out real quick. Gotta be careful. I don't know what that Malduin's got. He's got a tomahawk? Jeez, alright. Alright, well I can safely put Vanessa right here. Just gotta be careful. I'll give her a javelin. I'll have Archer just behind. I mean, I'm gonna dance for Marissa so she can land a little extra damage on that axe-wielding jerk there. Yeah, he's not hitting you with a 17%. If he does, I'm gonna be a little bit salty. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. So Marissa will kill both of them when they attack her. That's good. That's what we want. That'll be some nice, decent experience for her, I think. Probably not another level, but... okay, they're not really worth all that much, are they? Whatevs, it's still something. I will take what I can get. The nice thing about Marissa is if she gets a little bit more speed, she can be a Doog killer. Which sounds horrible, but... well, I don't have the power to one-round this guy, sadly. Because much like her friend Marissa, Vanessa has very little strength. Not enough. That's alright, I'll just javelin him again. That would have been nice last round, Vanessa, if you'd done that, but pfft, what the heck do I know? Anyway, let's get the heck out of Dodge. We'll heal up Kyle so he can get back into action. We're gonna mend him, actually. I think he needs it. There we are. We'll get him right back into the thick of it, so to speak. I can probably draw out that other Bone Walker. Bone Walkers, I should say. There's more of them. There's 2 more of them, if I'm not mistaken. Get our healer up and moving. And we'll keep you in around for absolutely no reason. Can I draw the other one out without getting hit as well? No, I cannot. So whatever I do, I'm going to be drawing out the boss. Which is fine. I don't think he's that powerful. 23 attack, actually, it's a little bit. That's a bit much. So we're going to put Kyle right here with a sword. Because that way he'll have triangle advantage at any rate. I don't know if Marissa's going to be especially useful for a guy that's that bulky, probably, but we'll see. Might be better than nothing. I'm going to have my other people just behind. We'll have my healer on station. We'll keep Ewan as far away as possible. Here he comes. Nope. No Tommy Hawk for you. Tommy Hawk's like Tony Hawk's little brother. Moving on. Let's see how Marissa can't even get within range here. That is a bummer. Now I gotta be careful because I don't want this guy running roughshod all over the rest of my team here. I can handle 1 hit from him on Archer here. But that'll put a nice big dent in him because they have very little in the way of resistance. Hey, I didn't even get hit. That's cool. And he should be weak enough that I can deal with him with somebody else. What's his defense, actually? 11? Jeez, alright. Never mind. Yeah, that's not gonna be good enough. If I can double with a steel sword, I can do it. He's got 8 speed? Is he slowed down at all by that thing? Yeah, by 2. So he's only got 6 speed, really. Problem is Marissa's weighed down by 5, so she'd have 9. Yep, that's not fast enough. Bummer. I was hoping I could kill him with her. You know what? We'll let Kyle have a kill. He deserves it. No, never mind. He can't even do it. I guess we will let Marissa have the killing blow. I think she can barely kill the guy. We'll put Kyle right here. Lay in a swing. I pretty much just need to hit him once. Oh, hey, I got to level up anyway. That's nice. Level 14 Cavalier. He's still not getting defense or strength like he should be getting, but whatever. Alright, yep, just enough. Down he goes. I should be able to just pull the rest of those Tarvos without too much trouble. Still no strength. Probably made a not super great decision bringing Marissa, but you know what? It is what it is. I still have my other guy. I can still choose my other guys, by the way, for the higher floors, which I might need to do. But I didn't buy especially effective equipment for anyone. I just kind of bought basic level stuff, which is fine. It's not like you need really beefy equipment to deal with this particular area of the game or anything. Of course he's got a lance. Why wouldn't he? You jump him in the face there. And Tarvos? Nope, they're not coming still. Alright, whatever. I'm going to park Marissa right here to draw them out. They should all come for her. Even that archer can hit her actually with a longbow, but I think she'll be alright. I'm going to barrier her up needlessly. Because nobody has any magic over here, but whatevs. And then we will get the whole kit and caboodle moved up here, just in case I need some support. But I think next turn will be the last one, without question. And then we can get our good old buddy Ewan finally made into a base class. That's a Sword Reaver. And something I really should have checked before I decided to move her into range of all those guys. Well, the odds of more than one of them having one is pretty slim. Okay, so that was a dumb mistake on my part. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, you always check your enemy's weapon types and what they have equipped, because they might be in a position to ruin your day. Thankfully, Marissa's has halfway decent evasion, even with stupid sword reavers notwithstanding. Alright, so I'll have her take care of this dude here. Yep. She's going to need a heal for certain, though. At least I have a halfway decent healer with Natasha. Even though she's not promoted, she's very, very good at what she does. Still no strength. Level 10, yep. Her strength growth is like 30%. It's really bad. Like, real bad. I'm not even sure why they bothered. It's not going to be a full heal for her, but... let's see if I can have Amelia kill this guy off here, since he's got a Reeve weapon here. Yep, no worries. That'll be a level for her. Hopefully she gets some defense. Nope, just some luck. I guess I'll take it. A free hammer. Too bad I can already buy those, and they're really of no consequence to me. We'll let Archer take care of this dude here. And he crits completely unnecessarily, which we're already used to. And I think I'll just let Natasha do another heal so she can get some XP. And just in case Marissa gets hit by something. Almost. Yeah, this should be it. Whoops. Alright, get at me, dude. Going for Archer. That's a big mistake on your part. Should have attacked the little weak woman. It's not that she's weak, she's just incapable of landing very difficult hits. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so that's floor number 2. We will proceed on to the next floor, floor number 3, in the next episode. So that being said, thank you all for watching up to this point. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're okay with settling in for a little more creature campaign stuff. I promise once this is over, we'll move on to something a little more engaging, I guess. But until that time, we're going to go to floor number 3 and possibly 4 in the next episode. So until then, thank you for watching. As I've said, this has been Seraphin. Stay classy, internets.